Hi, I am going to read you this short story by the wonderful writer Elie Wiesel, but also you should be reading along as I am sharing it. So this is called The Watch by Elie Wiesel, who you already know about from reading his biography. He was originally from Hungary, but he became fluent in French, and when he started his publishing career, he wrote exclusively either in French or in Yiddish. So this story was originally written in French and then translated into English, probably by his wife. All right. For my bar mitzvah, which is a big ceremony that boys and girls who are Jewish have when they're 13, for my bar mitzvah, I remember I had received a magnificent gold watch. It was the customary gift for the occasion and was meant to remind each boy that henceforth he would be held responsible for his acts before the Torah and its timeless laws. But I could not keep my gift. I had to part with it the very day my native town became the pride of the Hungarian nation by chasing from its confines every single one of its Jews. The glorious masters of our municipality were jubilant. They were rid of us. There would be no more kaftans on the streets. Kaftans are those prayer shawls that religious Jews wear. The local newspaper was brief and to the point. From now on, it would be possible to state one's place of residence without feeling shame. The time was late April 1944. In the early morning hours of that particular day, after a sleepless night, the ghetto was changed into a cemetery and its residents into gravediggers. We were digging feverishly in the courtyard, the garden, the cellar, consigning to the earth, temporarily, we thought, whatever remained of the belongings accumulated by several generations, the sorrow and reward of long years of toil. My father took charge of the jewelry and valuable papers. His head bowed, he was silently digging near the barn. Not far away, my mother, crouched on the damp ground, was burying the silver candelabra that she only used on Shabbat Eve. She was moaning softly, and I avoided her eyes. My sisters burrowed near the cellar. The youngest, Tzipporah, had chosen the garden, like myself. Solemnly shoveling, she declined my help. What did she have to hide? Her toys, her school notebooks? As for me, my only possession was my watch. It meant a lot to me, so I decided to bury it in a dark, deep hole 3 paces away from the fence under a poplar tree whose thick, strong foliage seemed to provide a reasonably secure shelter. All of us expected to recover our treasures. On our return, the earth would give them back to us. Until then, until the end of the storm, we would be safe. Yes, we were naive. We could not foresee that the very same evening before the last train had time to leave the station, an excited mob of well-informed, friendly neighbors would be rushing through the ghetto's wide-opened houses and courtyards, leaving not a stone or beam unturned, throwing themselves upon the loot. 20 years later, standing in our garden, in the middle of the night, I remember the first gift, also the last I ever received from my parents. I am seized by an irrational, irresistible desire to see it, to see if it's still there in the same spot, and if, defying all laws of probability, it has survived, like me, by accident, not knowing how or why. My curiosity becomes obsession. I think neither of my father's money nor of my mother's candlesticks. All that matters in this town is my gold watch and the sound of its ticking. Despite the darkness, I easily find my way in the garden. Once more, I am the bar mitzvah child. Here is the barn, the fence, the tree. Nothing has changed. To my left, the path leading to the Slotvitno Rebbe's house. The Rebbe, which means really important rabbi of a community or religious leader. The Rebbe, though, had changed. The burning bush burned itself out and there is nothing left. That's a biblical allusion. Not even smoke. What could he possibly have hidden the day we went away? His flacataries, these are little boxes with prayers that you wear if you're a Jewish man. His prayer shawl, his holy scrolls inherited from his famous ancestor, Rebbe Merrill of Fremlischen. No, probably not even that kind of treasure. He had taken everything along, convinced that he was thus protecting not only himself, but his disciples as well. He was proved wrong, the wonder rabbi. But I mustn't think of him now. The watch. I must think of the watch. Maybe it was spared. Let's see. 3 steps to the right. Stop. 2 forward. I recognize the place. Instinctively, I get ready to reenact the scene my memory recalls. I fall on my knees. What can I use to dig? There's a shovel in the barn. Its door is never locked. But by groping around in the dark, I risk stumbling and waking the people sleeping in the house. They would take me for a marauder, a thief, and hand me over to the police. They might even kill me. Never mind. I'll have to manage without a shovel or any other tool. I'll use my hands, my nails. But it is difficult. The soil is hard, frozen. It resists as if determined to keep its secret. Too bad. I'll punish it by being the stronger. Feverishly, furiously, my hands claw the earth, impervious to the cold, fatigue, and pain. One scratch, then another, no matter. Continue. My nails inch ahead, my fingers dig in. I bear down. My every fiber participates in the task. Little by little, the hole deepens. I must hurry. My forehead touches the ground, almost. I break out in a cold sweat. I am drenched, delirious. Faster, faster. I shall rip the earth from end to end, but I must know. Nothing can stop or frighten me. I'll go to the bottom of my fear, to the bottom of the night, but I will know. What time is it? How long have I been here? 5 minutes? 5 hours? 20 years? 20 years. This night was defining me. No, this night was defying me. This night was defying me. I was laboring to exhume not an object, but time itself, the soul and memory of that time. Nothing could be more urgent, more vital. Suddenly a shiver goes through me, a sharp sensation like a bite. My fingers touch something hard, metallic, rectangular. So I might not have been digging in vain. The garden is spinning around me, over me. I stand up to catch my breath. A moment later, I'm on my knees again. Cautiously, gently, I take the box from its tomb. Here it is, in the palm of my hand, the last relic, the only remaining symbol of everything I had loved and everything I had been. A voice inside me warns, don't open it. It contains nothing but emptiness. Throw it away and run. I cannot heed the warning. It is too late to turn back. I need to know either way. A slight pressure of my thumb and the box opens. I stifle the cry rising in my throat. The watch is there. A match. And another. Fleetingly, I catch a glimpse of it. The pain is blinding. Could this thing, this object, be my gift, my pride, my past? Covered with dirt and rust, crawling with worms, it is unrecognizable, revolting. Unable to move, wondering what to do, I stare at it with the disgust one feels for love betrayed or a body debased. I'm angry with myself for having yielded to curiosity. But disappointment gives way to profound pity. The watch, too, lived through the war and the Holocaust. The kind reserved for watchers, perhaps. In its way, it, too, is a survivor. a ghost infested with humiliating sores and obsolete memories. Suddenly I feel the urge to carry it to my lips, dirty as it is, to kiss and console it with my tears, as one might console a living being, a sick friend returning from far away and requiring much kindness and rest, especially rest. I touch it, I caress it. What I feel, besides compassion, is a strange kind of gratitude. You see, the men I had believed to be immortal had vanished into fiery clouds. My teachers, my friends, my guides had all deserted me, while this thing, this nameless, lifeless thing, had survived for the sole purpose of welcoming me on my way to return. For the sole purpose of welcoming me on my return and providing an epilogue to my childhood. The epilogue is some words that come typically at the end of a story. The resolution has already happened, but you still need a little bit more closure. That's what he's getting here. And there awakens in me a desire to confide in it, to tell it my adventures, and in exchange listen to its own. What had happened in my absence? Who had first taken possession of my house, my bed? Or rather, no. Our confidences would wait for another time, another place. Paris, New York, Jerusalem. But first, I would entrust it to the best jeweler in the world so that the watch might recover its luster, its memory of the past. It is growing late. The horizon is turning a deep rust. I must go. The tenants will soon be waking. They will come down to the well for water. No time to lose. I stuff the watch into my pocket and cross the garden. I enter the courtyard. From under the porch a dog barks and stops at once. He knows I am not a thief, anything but a thief. I open the gate. Halfway down the street I am overcome by violent remorse. I have just committed my first theft. I turn around, retrace my steps through the courtyard and the garden. Again, I find myself kneeling as at Yom Kippur services beneath the poplar. Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the Jewish year, and it is a time where you do a lot of very serious introspective prayer. Holding my breath, my eyes refusing to cry, I place the watch back into its box, close the cover, and my first gift once more takes refuge deep inside the hole. Using my both hands, I smoothly fill in the earth to remove all traces. Breathless and with a pounding heart, I reach the still deserted street. I stop and question the meaning of what I have just done and find it inexplicable. In retrospect, I tell myself that I probably simply wanted to leave behind me underneath the silent soil a reflection of my presence. Or that somehow I wanted to transform my watch into an instrument of delayed vengeance. Or somehow I wanted to transform my watch into an instrument of delayed vengeance. One day, a child would play in the garden, dig near the tree, and stumble upon a metal box. He would thus learn that his parents were usurpers, that among the inhabitants of his town, once upon a time, there had been Jews and Jewish children robbed of their future. The sun was rising, and I was still walking through the empty streets and alleys. For a moment I heard the chanting of schoolboys studying Talmud. I also thought I heard the invocations of Hasidim reciting morning prayers in 33 places at once. Yet, above all these incantations, memories of his past, I heard distinctly, but as though coming from far away, the tick-tock of the watch I had just buried in accordance with Jewish custom. It was, after all, the very first gift that a Jewish child had once been given for his very first celebration. Since that day, The town of my childhood has ceased being just another town. It has become the face of a watch.